I need to step away from this.
Good morning, people. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk TV here on AOC Community Media. That's Cox 15 and LUS Channel 3 in the 5 parish area of South Louisiana. Hope you're feeling well. I want to say shout out to AOC Community Media. I got my cup this morning, and I prized my cup. Apparently, in these days, that's sometimes that's the only thing you can prize. Nobody messes with my cups. Well, we have a guest who might say differ. The great, dynamic, and beautiful sister from our neck of the woods in Louisiana. I'm gonna just put it like that. From an undisclosed location, much as myself, Sister Salida McCall, community activist, veteran, all around everything. She's involved in everything, very highly educated sister. And we are so happy to have her on our TV show. I get so nervous when I have this sister on, besides my co-host who does the opposite of making me nervous. So welcome, Sister Salida.
Good morning, you guys. Thank you for this great opportunity. You guys are having a great day in the midst of all the craziness that's going on. We're here, right? Thank you for having me, Brother Jay.
Yes. Today I wanted to have you on because you're very knowledgeable.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Okay, yeah. I want to have you on because you are very knowledgeable in some of the things we want to discuss today. As you know, this administration and people, we have to deal with this administration. We can stick our heads in the sand and say we're going to drop out, but we still have to deal with it because some of our people, our loved ones, are heavily tied to the system in the sense that they have to survive in this system. So we need to still give us our information. And what this sister did when we had that discussion, she brought up the fact that we don't have a backup plan. And she's so right on that. And we are heavily tied to the system. And one of the things, part of that big, ugly, racist, corrupt bill that Mike Johnson from this state has talked about and has pushed out into the realm of reality is housing. Housing is essential as an anchor for our life and for things in the future, to live and survive. So I want Sister Salida to discuss what type of fallout that we're going to get and where do we go from here. And we don't have all the answers, but certainly Sister Salida will try to help us and guide us through this mess.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm gonna try my best. I'll just say it to you like that to kind of give you some scenarios that we're going to be dealing with. Um, because of the decision that he's made with this big beautiful bill, one thing they're going to try to do is Republicans, and I'm not talking party affiliation directly, but because we have a lot of Democrats that act like they're not Republicans, but they vote in a Republican way. We're gonna realize that they're gonna come out with a narrative that this was a great thing for not only just Louisiana, but for everybody. In reality, it's not. There's a lot of things that are going to be cut, that we're going to be missing out on. The homeless housing is going to be cut. They're talking about putting a time limit on using the choice vouchers, the housing vouchers. They're talking about a 2-year limit. Like once the 2 years up, you're going to have to start paying your own rent. Those type of things. Those HUD, they're going to be cutting money from HUD. So a lot of things that we've been taking advantage of or using or trying to make it better for us, it's not okay. It's not going to be there. And they have some senior citizen programs and the foster care programs. When the people come out of foster care, they're going to give them a little amount of money, not something real big, because you got to get them once they come from under that system. You have to give them a boost to be able to survive. Well, the money that they're going to be giving, it's not a lot of money. So we're looking at the ideal, and like Brother Jay was saying, my thing is there is no backup plan. And I think we as Americans, I think we had an opportunity to create a backup plan, but I think we were so bamboozled and fooled by our politicians that we never created a backup plan for this. And it's like America feels like this would have never happened. This will never happen to us. Never. But because of that mindset, this is why we're where we're at now. And I don't know if you noticed it, but even some of the programs, we have the weatherization programs. They're going to be cutting those programs. They're pulling money from the weatherization, any type of renovations that they do on your house for you, they're cutting that money. There anything that they've been able to give to us grant wise, they're going to be cutting it. And some of the programs, they're going to be putting it in the state's hands. And whatever the state has to spend on those programs, that's all they're going to have. So in other words, if we would have taken on housing in our own communities, if we would have taken on these programs ourselves and kind of manage them, then we do get federal grants because federal money. We put money in. We're taxpayers, so we should be able to use our own money, right, to put back into our communities. Well, because we didn't plan accordingly, we're at this point now where everybody is like in a tizzy because we didn't do what we should have done a long time ago. And let me say this, and I don't want anybody to get this misspoken by what I'm saying. I'm not just blaming Trump. Let me say this again. For the way America is, it's not just Trump. Because if you go back in history, Reagan tried to do the same thing. If you go back in history, Nixon tried to do the same thing. So when we have a Republican president, all the Democrats does is sweep what they've done under the rug and move on and try to do something else. They move. Okay, let's put it in a scenario like this. When Republicans are in place, everything is in the shambles. Everything, when they're pulling this, they changing the furniture. I'm putting in a scenario of a house, and they're putting new furniture in all over the place. Nobody is swept under the rug, pulled the rug up and shook it out and moved trash and pick up the trash. No. So what Democrats do, they come in and it's all swept up under the rug, right? They're not going to move it. It's just there, and it's going to keep piling up. And then we get another president, and he piles some more up. And the Republicans come in and they move it around and they take some out and they put some in and they do this. This is the whole scenario of what America has been built on. So it's not just one president. It's all of them. And like I said before, if you look at the lineage and the bloodline of all the presidents, not to get off the subject matter, because I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. They're all related, all the way down to Trump. They are related. If I'm not mistaken, I think Trump is related to the Kennedy family somewhere. I could be wrong, but I think he's related somewhere in the Kennedy family. So they're picked. They are selected. They're not elected. We think we're doing all the work of and I'm not discouraging anybody to get out and vote, because I'm very much so, I believe in voting. But I'm letting you guys know, until they get rid of voter suppression laws, okay, and things like that, and when they get rid of that electoral college, you have to understand your presidents are selected. They're not elected, no matter what they tell you. With that electoral college in place, they select your president. You don't. You have more power on the local level than you do on the national level. And we got to understand that. So I'm saying this, and I'm talking because I want you guys to see how this all correlates, how it goes together. All of this with the cuts and everything, just go back and read your political history, American history, whatever, and you'll see that all of this was already in place. It just depended on which president was able to enact it, and which president had all the power behind him to make this happen. And what we find out is he was the great patsy for us, for our time. Huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Even though some of the naysayers, some of the people involved in the hospital, you know that's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
That nothing's gonna happen because it's happening like it's slow moving.
Exactly. It's been happening. The crazy part, it's been happening. We just hadn't been paying attention to it.
Yeah, and just on yesterday, we saw the National Guard. Watch the department and military memories and whatever they call ICE agents, where the hell that is.
Mm-hmm.
They marched to a park in LA. Like they were going to do something. Mm-hmm. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is what it's turning. So I'm using that for example. Don't say that's not going to happen.
Yes, exactly.
I'm saying don't say it's not going to happen.
It can happen.
It will happen. And you know what? Here, as we have what we call Rapides General, we have 2 hospitals here. We used to have 3 with Charity, but now we're only down to 2. So we have Rapides General here, and we have Cabrini, St. Francis Cabrini. Well, Rapides General had a number of their urgent cares. So we get a message that they're about to close them down in August. They're closing all their urgent care clinics down. So don't say it's not happening. It's happening, and it's happening in real time. And what's so crazy is I think people are still in shock. I think people are still in shock 6 months ago when he got in that office. I think people are still in shock, and people are naive to the point where they want to believe that he's doing something good, when reality is he's not. And if you pay attention to the people who, like you always say, and you've said this for a while, it's not him, it's the people who support him. They're so blind to the fact that they're not, this whole thing, once it starts to start working in 26 and 27, it is going to affect them. And they don't even, it's going to hit them then. Because you got people now already saying, oh my God, I wish I didn't vote for him. But we know why you voted for him because of, and I'm saying this and I'm not calling anybody ignorant, but because of your ignorance of not knowing what you were voting for and who you were voting for. Because you're on the impression that it was about immigrants and poor people and black folks because you didn't check the statistics, you didn't do any type of research. So if I can get rid of them, or if I can stop them from surviving, because that's what you're trying to do, I'm good. It's not going to affect me. Well, in reality is, if you look at the statistics, there are more of them using government assistance than is us. Because let me tell you about a black person and black people. If you look at our history and how long we've been here and how many times they've tried to avoid or tried to stop us from surviving, we keep surviving. No matter what they throw at us, we keep surviving. So you should learn, if you don't want to learn anything from us, you should learn that we are going to keep surviving, regardless of what you try to do to us. And because of your ignorance, you voted a man in that's not only going to destroy us, if that's what you want to say, he's going to destroy you too.
Yeah.
Look at what you were saying, and you had this conversation where we're talking about assisted living, um, nursing homes.
Right.
Don't you understand they're going to be affected? And we know that there's a certain people that love to throw their moms and their dads and their grandpappies and their grandmamas in the nursing home.
Yes.
Because you're too busy to take care of them. Well, if money starts to slip from these nursing homes, mom, dad, grandma, pawpaw, the whole nine, they're coming home to stay with you, baby. Okay? They're coming home to stay with you because the funding won't be there. So you got to be careful when you're trying to dig a hole for somebody, because you might be digging that hole for yourself. So
see, these great off a colonial mindset, meaning if you go back maybe 100 years or so, and it's come directly out of the issue of enslavement, where we had a lot of African American caregivers who were forced to be caregivers. See,
that's right.
Caregiving occupation is not a new thing. It's as old as the country itself, and
Exactly.
they had taken care of these elderly person. I mean, even because they might have lived till their 60s or 50s, but they were very, let's say, very ill and very incapacitated. And it was the black female who was the caregiver most of the time, and it was the black male who was out there being a janitor and cleaning up the messes. And so these people live in a colonial mindset and don't realize that they will be hurting themselves also.
Yeah.
Because you destroy all of these programs that people have come to know, you're starting to create a domino effect that will affect everyone.
Yes, that's going to affect everyone.
And I had that conversation with everybody and say, I beat a dead horse. But the hypocritical movement of what they're doing, rounding up these migrants in South Louisiana, if they are doing it, because I don't see it on a big level. Nowhere in the world they can let thousands and thousands of acres of sugarcane rot in the field without having the drivers who drive the trucks or the people who do the harvesting with those machines and those tractors and the people who work with sugar mills, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar sugar mills, and all within a 25-mile area of South Louisiana. They're not going to do that. So
Exactly.
they're doing to destroy people of color, and I tie this to racism. Straight up white supremacy. They want to get rid of a lot of dark and brown people, black and brown people, but they want to still keep this system intact where they can profit just like the colonial days, just like the plantation, you know, and that's what it is boiling down to. I don't want to hear any one of my elected representatives come and say, "Well, Brother Jay, we in Baton Rouge, we're trying to work with these people." No, fool. These people are straight up white supremacists. You need to stand up in that black Baton Rouge legislature and call them out for what they are. And even if we don't get anything, let them know you know it's the white supremacy game you playing, Mike Johnson, Clay Higgins, Jeff Landry. That's plain and simple. It's nothing else other than that. If you're going to destroy some things, some institutions that have been working, and you are not even trying to find a solution. It's straight up white supremacy. All of this stuff.
Exactly, exactly. And this is what America was built on: capitalism and white supremacy. What's happening is they're losing power in a lot of areas. They're losing power. They know that they depend on our dollar. And, you know, like I always said, we are the highest consumers of goods and services. And this is the end result. Look at what we're doing and where we're at now. So because we are the highest in consuming stuff, we're not producing anything. So because we're not producing anything, this is what we get. We have nothing to stand on that is our own, that they would have to fight us for, because we set ourselves up to be comfortable and not being producers. We don't teach our children to produce. We send them off to college, and we want them to work for big corporations. We don't talk about enterprise. We don't talk about competitive marketing. We don't talk about those things with our children. We don't tell them, hey, it's all right to work for somebody, but in the meantime, while you're working for somebody, build your own thing. We don't tell them that. And then we're fantasizing, because we have this European mindset that you work for somebody else, you make them rich, you might be ahead of some certain departments, but that's is where you're at. So when you retire, that's all you have. You haven't taught your child, okay, start your own business. Let's see how you can do that. That's producing. That's bringing a product or service to your people. Because a lot of them don't even, if you notice, they don't do business with us. So you're bringing something in. We're not producing anything. We're accumulating, and we're accumulating. We're accumulating. We're not, and then we brag about what we have. But at the end of the day, what is that when it comes to assets and investments? What is that? And we're all guilty of it. It's not just certain ones. All of us are guilty of being so consumed with stuff and materialistic things with no production of nothing. So why are we surprised that what's happening to us is happening? Why? We just need to prepare, because we didn't do what we should have done years ago. We didn't instill those things, those values in our kids, because we wanted them to understand that they're valued and validated by the stuff that they have, because that's how we raised them. So how does our future look when it comes to that? We're not producing anything, but we can't get mad. I mean, why get mad?
Right.
We have to.
The big ugly bush. I mean, big ugly bill, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The most notable provision in that part of what the Senate did is called the low income housing tax credit, and they're trying to make a light of it to fund the majority of new affordable housing projects in the United States. The Senate version of the bill says that's what they worked on and passed it back. They didn't actually change it. The House had a similar situation. Now with that, now that might be something they say is positive, but you could have more programs to build more low income housing. I mean, give a tax credit. But with the other situation? people still won't be able to get the credit. It's
Yeah.
nothing on giving people access to capital and credit to build
Yeah,
those.
and that's a big thing because we don't have that equal access.
Yes.
We don't have that equal access to what you're saying, to the money, the capital. We don't have that even when we're trying to start businesses. We don't have that. And that's a problem. So is it a benefit for us? I mean, for low income people, or is it something that we have to look at? And I think a lot of decisions that's being made, you guys, to be honest with you, I don't think it was really thought through. I really don't. I don't think everybody, whoever worked on this bill, I don't think economically that they did a lot of this. I think this was out of emotion, and I don't think it's out of logic because there's so many holes in this bill.
Yes.
That's not making sense. And for it to pass through Congress the way it did, and even you had Republicans that were totally against it, and then at the end they voted for it. This is why having trust in politicians and not in yourself and people like you is a problem.
Yeah.
I'm done with politicians, and even though I've worked with them in the past, and with our council, with all that, I've done that. I'm kind of done with the political side of it, because what happens is they're no longer that human. There's no human factor anymore in there. It's all about the money that I can make out of this while I'm here, and who can I get over on. And that's what it's built on now. So when I'm gonna tell you when the light came on for me. The light came on a long time ago, but lately is when we had an opportunity to vote on the articles of impeachment that Al Green, an African American Texas representative, put together, and your very own Cleo Fields, Hakeem Jeffrey, both of them voted no against putting together the articles of impeachment for Donald Trump. That right there, really, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer for us to open up our eyes.
Right.
That right there opened my eyes. Now, if there's something coming behind that to saying the reason why they didn't do it, that I'll go for that. But right now, he can get up there. I've seen Hakeem Jeffrey up there yapping. It went over my head. I had nothing to listen. He has nothing he can say to me to change my mind.
Yes.
Cleo Fields couldn't talk to me right now.
Right.
Because of what he just did. We have opportunity. Y'all gotta be careful with these worshiping and idolizing these politicians, because their true colors come out. What you guys probably don't understand is they're bought and paid for from
I'm gonna give
both
credit.
of them.
Call a name and a show host named Mr. Kevin. Brother Jay, keep him off your damn show. I mean, you make the point is the Democrats, and I'm a registered independent. People say even that is, passe, whatever.
They're confused. Look, no, independents are confused.
Yeah. And the thing is, the Democrats are a weak ass party. You could hear me. I'm on AOC community media. You hear me? I'm not being profanity. We hear the president speak in certain terms, so we need to speak in certain. The Democrats are a weak ass party based on subservience to these same MAGA people. They're not even Republicans in Louisiana. Blake Miguez, several New Iberia politicians are enamored with Blake Miguez. You know, the clown from New Iberia in the Louisiana State Senate that runs around in the commercial with a gun. I'm saying, sister, I don't know if you saw that commercial. Who in the hell he want to shoot with a gun? And I'm gonna be blunt. Who you want to shoot? The niggas? I mean, come on, elected politician in the Louisiana legislative body from New Iberia. Do you know what Blake Miguez stands for? Ask him what he want to do with that gun. Shoot a couple of niggas? I'm sorry. If I get banned today or tomorrow, I'm being blunt just as much as their president, who's the head of the MAGAs of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, who worship this clown in DC. I'm speaking in the same terms he's speaking.
Yeah.
Because so anyway, sister.
No, you're right, and he's one of the many that we're going to be that we're having these issues with. I'm so over, and anybody who's for good, I'm so over the Black Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what, me and you were talking, Brother Jay, and I think it was me and you talking, and you said, why weren't we warned about all of this that was coming down the pipe? They knew. The Democrats knew in Baton Rouge, and so did the Republicans. Why weren't they out educating people on this big, beautiful bill? Why? Because you know what? They already knew it was going to pass. Believe me, when I say they knew, they knew.
Yes.
So why weren't they out educating their constituents about what was coming?
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody quiet. If you notice, everybody quiet right now. Because I think everybody in shock, but you shouldn't have been. Because you know why? Because the information was out there.
A MAGA Trump mindset, and it shouldn't be that much. I mean, people don't realize they've been through the police dogs and they got our elder sister and me and keep brother Keith Falk on the show brought that up. A lot of our politicians, they'll get there and say, you know what? I'm in the spirit of Martin Luther King. I'm in the hell effing no. Martin Luther King went to jail. None of these politicians in Louisiana legislative body are willing to go to jail for what their belief system. Martin Luther King went to jail. None of them went to jail, but they want to feed off the back of Martin Luther King legacy. A lot of them talk about Malcolm X. None of them will in the same terms Malcolm X speaks. So stop lying to people. Stop lying.
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. And oh boy, yes, you're right. Yes. No, y'all gotta think. Everybody is paid. You gotta remember, until they get rid of Alec, you guys know what Alec is. Until they get rid of these PACs, Alec and all those who just throw money at these politicians to get what they want, because that's why the big beautiful bill passed, because they were paid to make sure it does pass. They have to play a role with us. They have to play a role. It's a script, and we don't even see it. Very seldom you find some of our politicians that are out there literally really doing the work. Other ones, they're going to sit back and they're going to enjoy the ride. And when they come around in your community, they want you to, hey, yes, you're doing a great job. When in reality, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They're not working hard like they claim they are. And if you notice on the national level, the same politicians they keep putting in our faces, the same representative, the same congressman, they keep putting in our faces. You don't think they're there for a reason? Why ain't all the other ones? Why aren't the other ones talking and being on camera? Because they got a few of them that are popular, and that's the ones they throw in our faces, and that's to calm us down. And you know what? I'm a very fan of that person. We're fans of our politicians. We don't make them do the work. We're fans. If you look at the word fan, it's a fanatical. It means we're fanatical over these politicians that are really not doing anything, but they put a disguise that they are.
It's just I want to read.
We go for it every time.
Other piece from this article in shelterforce.org. It's a housing advocacy group.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, they said that's because the $3 trillion, I went on from the paragraph I was before. That's because the $3 trillion bill devastating cuts to Medicaid, Medicaid and SNAP enacted up to free up funds for tax cuts for the ultra rich would bring about widespread job loss and a surge in poverty, causing the number of people who cannot afford housing to soar far beyond what the new housing provision could address. That's especially true in the era of surging construction costs, thanks to the so-called tariffs and the decimation of the construction workforce, because they rounded up all the workforce anyway. But here's the thing. It's a it's a side node, you know, like another branch in the off of something. Think about this. You create a whole new construct of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes with poverty? More crime. But at the
More
same
crime.
time, you take $150 billion and you create a super police force. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
150 less than that. Billions of dollars to throw at ICE. And what is ICE evolving to? A paramilitary force made up of a lot of white supremacists that they're not
That's
talking
right.
about. People,
That's right.
pay
That's
attention.
right.
They don't want to identify them because they're white supremacists, bail bondsmen, want to be Patriot Front people with masks. If you look at the Patriot white supremacy group that marched in Charlotte, they had those masks, except they were white, and they had those hats and those shades. The same thing with ICE, except they're black masks and shades, and they got a hat. So that's the same people. So they're gonna create a police force because guess what? They're creating the construct for poverty, more crime, less people who have less access. They have a tendency to be involved in crime. There's no other way to about it. When you force somebody in the corner, some of them turn to a life of crime, even though that's wrong. There's nothing to feed their family. There's nothing to live on, survive on. So that's what they're trying to do: create more poverty, then they could justify this super police force.
That's right.
The white supremacists and the oligarchy people, the rich people in power. That's all it's about.
Exactly. And it was a young man who made a comment. He said, you got to look at it. It's all of us, and there's 500 people controlling the country. When I say 500, I'm talking about our state representative, our legislature, the whole 9 yards. It's 500 of those, and it's all the rest of us. So who you think has the most power in numbers? We do. And like I said before, and I said it to Brother Jay, we should have had a backup plan. We should have had a backup plan on the local level, if nothing else. We should have had a backup plan state by state. Should have had a backup plan for those federal dollars that are going to be pulled away. And this is the funniest, craziest thing is we pay taxes, but you're controlling our money. You're going to tell us what we cannot do with our money. Yeah, federal dollars are our money that we put in. We're already getting bamboozled on income tax. We know we're not getting rightfully what is ours in income tax. Hold up, you guys. I'm sorry, my dog. I apologize, you guys. That's my dog. So we're already getting bamboozled on that. Okay. So now, and I don't know if you heard, Brother Jay, what some states are doing. You know, the states that pay the most in federal income tax as a state, they're talking about pulling back their money.
Yeah, the donor states, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the northern, like New York is one of them. California is like the 5th largest, I think, in the world almost. I think it's in the world or in the States. I can't remember. But they're talking about pulling their federal dollars and putting it back into their state and using it among their people instead of paying federal taxes. That means people stop paying the income taxes all the way around. Guess what? The federal government will collapse almost to a certain extent. So keep in mind, that's why I said a backup plan. That's a backup plan that can be put in place. That right there is a backup plan that can be put in place. And it's not unlawful because you know why? Because there's going to be a way that they're going to make sure it's not. And then look at what we did with our federal judges, our Supreme Courts. Our Supreme Courts is collapsed.
Yes.
It's collapsed. This gave into them because they have to. Because again, this whole situation is scripted. So everybody has to play their part. And we've got to understand that. We can get mad, we can get angry, but we got to go ahead and kind of calm down and start thinking. It's never too late for the backup plan. I'm not saying it's too late, but I'm saying we should have had one in place. Not everything that's in that big, beautiful bill, as he called it, we would have been able to do something. But there are some things that we could have done something different in. When we're talking about housing, we should have had a backup plan with housing. Because you know what? There's companies that give money away, right?
Right.
You got companies that could have given organizations money to build, and the organization's going to be in charge of the funding as far as the money, how it's being distributed through the housing. All of that could have been done, but we're so dependent on the federal government. We're so dependent on the federal government, and this is why we're where we're at. But it's being said this was going to eventually have to happen anyway, because I think what's happened in America, you know how a balloon can keep blowing up and keep blowing up, and then you're still trying to put air in it that don't need no more air, and it explodes, or you know what I'm saying, pops. I think that's where America is. I think that's where America is in every category it could be in, and because we didn't have extra balloons, you understand what I'm saying? We didn't have extra balloons. So if that one balloon pops, now this is what we're dealing with. And now everybody's scrambling. Everybody's trying to figure out how can I do this, how can I do that. We don't have backup plans. In America, as Americans, we can be so naive to the fact that no, it could never happen to me. And that's how we've been dealing with a lot of stuff.
Sister, I want to read this from my chat GPT. And it's concerning what the bill and its potential impact on housing program is for Louisiana, right? I'm gonna read this short summary, and maybe you want to comment on that. It's from Chat GPT. The recent federal legislation sometimes referred to one big beautiful bill. Sister, it hurts me to even say beautiful with that ugly clown in the White House, has been debated for potential impact on various federal programs, including those related to housing assistance. Some concerns have been raised about the potential effects of Section 8, such as possible changes to the voucher funding, stricter eligibility rules, and implications for a vulnerable population. It's important to monitor the official information from HUD and local housing authorities regarding any program changes that may result in legislation. And for example, the Lafayette Housing Authority recently froze the issuance of new housing vouchers due to funding limitations, highlighting the potential impact of changes at the federal level. So maybe I might have time to read it later, but I was just reading over the short search about housing impact in Louisiana, and it goes with a lot of other information. So there already was some big waiting lists in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right.
This potential, so like you say, no backup plan, what to do. We gotta have more homeless. We have a lot of homeless in South Louisiana. They like to deny that, giving a stronghold of a lot of Catholic charities, supposedly. And Jeff Landry's a Catholic, a loving Catholic. So you don't know with certain situations like that. So I don't know if you want to comment on that part.
Okay, I could barely hear you on the last thing you said.
I say I don't know if you want to comment on that part. Can you hear me?
No, say it again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I say I don't know if you want to comment on that part. What I just read.
I think religion should be not in this whole thing. I heard you just say something about him being Catholic, right? What religion has to do with it? Religion is not going to change. It's not going to change the mess that we're in. Whatever. You should do that as a human anyway. It don't have nothing to do with religion. I think, like I said before, and you said it too, if you create a system where poverty is the top tier and it starts to trickle down, right? So what happens when you lose a job, when you can't do this, when you can't do that, you can't provide for your family? And I'm not saying crime is the answer, but majority of the time, lots of times, That's what people are doing. They're going to it from another alternative. They're not trying to build a business because, see, you got to remember, we don't push entrepreneurship. We don't push marketing. We don't push enterprise. We push the easier thing to do, and that's to run to crime. And so we start doing things like that. And what are we doing for them? We're building a system that the reputation of Louisiana being the most incarcerated place. So that's what we're doing. And we're starting with our children because we're going to make sure our children watch what we do and emulate us. And they're going to be doing the same thing we do. Well, mom and dad did it. Let's do it. And that's going to be a trickle down effect. And it's not, it's not a healthy way to go with that. So until we, and this is another thing. Poverty is going to be forever. You'll never get rid of poverty to a certain extent, but you can make people smarter and you can give them the tools and the resources to come out of poverty, because a lot of people have come out of poverty, right? So because we don't do that and you get rich, you got to remember, rich people get rich, not only off investments, but they get rich off of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I try to get rid of something that I'm getting rich on? This whole immigration, deportation stuff, that's about money. That's about money. It's not even about, oh, he's illegal. Because now they're arresting and deporting people who are not and who are not criminals. So it's not about that. It's about making somebody rich.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we didn't, again, backup plan was not in place. Now, I do want to ask this, and I don't know if you can answer this because you're not a legal immigrant. But if you've been here 15, 20, 25, 30 years, why didn't you get naturalized? Why didn't you get your citizenship? Because there's a lot of y'all who didn't get your citizenship after your kids are grown. You're about to be a great grandma or great grandpa, and you didn't get legalized. And you guys, what's so crazy is they're going after black and brown. Do you know there's Australians, there's Russians, there's Iraqis, there's Polish people here that are undocumented. It's not only us, it's them too. There's Israelis here. There's all kind of UK people here that not. There was a lady who literally said she was from Australia, and she said she had been here 20 years, and she's not documented. She said, "Why aren't they coming after the blonde head and blue-eyed people? Because that's what she had."
Yeah, even
so
someone
that tells you something. Yeah. So that tells you something. And she's literally doing the video stating that she's an undocumented person. She said, but they don't never touch the blonde head and the blue-eyed people. Why?
No. Well, that's what I say. I mean, the common denominator of everything about this whole era is white supremacy.
Yeah. That's why they went to Africa. Well, they sent those Africans over here. And I don't know if Afrikaners, that's what they call them. And I don't,
Afrikaners.
Oh, Afrikaners. Okay. So one of them, the Africans that can. One of them killed his wife as soon as he got over here. He wiped out his wife. One was saying he's homeless and he doesn't have any food because they stopped giving him money or whatever it was that they were giving him. So I'm just saying, what is this about? But if you go and look in history, and I'm not giving off subject, but I want to give an example to that.
Right.
When they were occupying Palestine, okay, when Israel was created in 1948, they took people from another area, 100,000 of them, and placed them into a section of Palestine to create Israel. All you got to do is look it up. This is information that's right in your face, black and white. So they created Israel by taking these people and putting them inside that portion of Palestine in 1948. Look it up. I didn't make this up. Matter of fact, I talked about it on one of my other podcasts with the information. So I'm saying this to let you know they'll do that all the time. If they need to put, and see, I think the problem is too, Brother Jay, when they claim that Biden had the borders open, Biden didn't have the borders open for everybody. He had them open for what? Black and brown people.
Right.
So what happened was, look at our census and the population. It wasn't a lot of them trying to come over here, but it was a lot of black and brown people coming over.
Right.
That's the problem. Okay.
Shout out to the Haitians. Shout out to my Haitian brothers.
Yeah, and y'all, if you know the history behind Haiti in America, please, Louisiana, you've got to know the foundation of Louisiana because it has everything to do with the Haitians.
Yes.
This was the first time that America was ever defeated by anybody. That's why they don't like Haitians.
I want to say, if you want to reach a Haitian brother and sister, you could reach out to hashtag Haitian at beatthat.ass.com.
But yes, that was the only time America got defeated is with Haitian, when the Haitian War happened, Haitian Revolution happened. Slave revolt. What's his name? Toussaint? Was it Toussaint? Yes. So look that if this is why Black history is not being taught like it's supposed to. You will see why Haiti has had all the problems they've had with America. Do you know that America they've had leadership in Haiti, and America will go and create a coup and remove that person out and put somebody they want in there?
It's just as a side note, a lot of the South Louisiana so-called Negro Creoles who walking around here, you know, y'all ancestry is mostly Haitian. Yeah, I want them to know.
Exactly. They're not all French. They're Haitians because this used to be Haiti. This used to be part of Haiti.
Yeah.
So we gotta. That's why CRT is so important. The reason why they were banning our burning books and all that, because they don't want to know. They don't want us to know the true foundation and the true history of what America is. Because once you pull up that veil, you'll see what America really is. And they want to keep this. I'm a big bold, happy. I'm the one who makes all the decisions. I'm the big bully. When reality, it is not like that, y'all. We have been playing this role
We have to
for
also
so long.
address our elected officials. Going back to them, none of them stand. I know when they had one of the holdouts from Columbia University that they picked up, the Arab guy, Middle Eastern person that spoke out against. He was, I think he was a student at university. He spoke out against the immigration policies, and they detained him here in Louisiana. People need to know that Jeff Landry and Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, the little Jewish Nazi person, there's such a thing, Jewish Nazi.
Exactly.
They are making Louisiana. We already knew Louisiana. We know that for a fact that Louisiana was the prison capital of the world. But more so than ever, having more of the deportation camps, concentration camps in Louisiana, especially in that town called Jena. I reached out to a reporter who did a piece in Slate magazine about Jena, Louisiana deportation camp. But I was trying to send them the history of Jena, going back to the Jena March that we all participated back in 2007, 2008. People need to know that Jena still exists in the construct of it's a racist place out there in Louisiana. Not only the people in Jena are racist, but the policies and the law enforcement, the deportation camps are all based on white supremacy.
That's right. That's exactly right. Matter of fact, I don't live far from Jena, where I live at. I think Jena is 45 to an hour away from where I'm at right now. But yeah, you're right. And don't get it twisted. And that's why we need to look at things from the hypocrisy way, because it's very hypocritical at the ideal that Louisiana is supposed to be this religious, and they don't mind locking people up
Right.
in our
People, you know,
that's right.
another Pam Blondie. I call her Pam, not Blondie. Pam Blondie. All the girls that Trump hires. You know, he got a Mean Girls movie, and he got a script to hire the people that's work for him.
But a whole bunch of mean girls.
Yeah, Liz Morel. The only thing, she dark hair, but she prides herself on being just as mean as these others out there in the administration. So we have to expose these people. You know, Louisiana is not necessarily a tourism destination. And I'm so proud of some of the people who did not attend the Essence. I'm not down with the Essence anymore. I would not give cover to some brothers who owns a entity that's run by the corporate bottom line. And shout out to Tamika Mallory for not attending the Essence. You know, the Essence is to violate that whole issue of the boycott with Target. And I'm not necessarily in for a boycott, but I'm with black folks who want to stand for something. You know, Target is not really helping the black community. If they are obeying the Trump mindset, I'm not down with that. You know, that whole Trump mindset is that MAGA crowd that hates people of color but want to take their money at a drop of a hat.
Exactly. You know what? On that subject of Target, I don't know if you paid attention to Roland Martin. I'm not a fan of Roland Martin. Let me let you say that. But did you see where he? I think it was Jamal Bryant, the pastor. Anyway, he was talking about how the Black Caucus. I think it was the Black Caucus, or it was the NAACP took $300,000 from Target. To see, I don't know what that was behind, but they come out and then encourage us. This is why I'm saying we cannot really fight slavery, because we still bought and paid for it. Right. Because that's what we do. It's in our, I don't want to say DNA, but our mindset. Money over everything else. Money over principle. Money over loyalty. Right. Money over everything. So they donated $300,000. I don't know if it was the NAACP, but to me, and anybody who wants to disagree with me,
I think it was the Southern Baptist.
It was the Southern Baptist. That's right, sir. You're right. I misspoke on that. Don't come after me, because you won't want to do that. But because I do have something for all of y'all. But yeah. You're right. It wasn't that. It was the Southern Baptist Convention organization that took $300,000 from Target. I'm gonna say that again. They took $300,000 from Target. Okay. And you can buy our pastors. You can buy. They're for sale. You know that, right? They're for sale.
Right.
So keep that in mind. When you say separation of church and state and all that, that doesn't even matter anymore.
No, it doesn't.
That don't matter, because everybody's for sale.
Yeah.
If you got the right price, I'll do that for you. I'll sign that paperwork for you if you got it for the right price. We all for sale. And for what?
Well, you know, Trump's coming back around again with the opportunity zone money. That's one of the part of the big, beautiful, so-called big ass ugly bill. And the opportunity zone, which was a farce the first time around, because the same person that's now head of the housing was Scott Turner, the ex-NFL. He came down to Lafayette and got a couple of the Negro mindset and organizations to co-sign to that. And still on today, that none of we hear anything about the so-called opportunity zone money that they were using to help build up neighborhoods and bring some economic development in the Lafayette area and the Opelousas and so forth. So one thing about this administration and our people are so weak and sleeping. He lies good. His people lies, and that everything he touches is a lie. And how many black folks fall for the lies? You know, and that's the problem. That's why I get so. I'm not even mad at at Trump or his mindset of people. I'm mad at our people for always falling for that and want to tell us we should be speaking out about this and that because that gonna hurt the cause. Well, the cause has been hurt when the fool lied to you.
Exactly. It's just like what? So it's like we have no conscience anymore.
No.
We don't sit down and think things through before we make the decision to do something that's going to hurt the people. And because I guess because of the way we are, I got to think that through. I got to see what on the overall, the long term, not the short term, but the long term goal is for what I'm about to do. And what is my impact when I do it? Should I be worried about it? Yeah. Should I change the way I'm going to do it? If I do it, can I? Yeah. Because something's not going to be right. And you're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. Get that out there. You're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. But you do want to make sure you're satisfying the people that are very much so needed, whatever that thing is, whatever that program is, that you're actually able to make sure that everything's taken care of. You know, we do have people who take advantage of things, but the way things are looking, you're not going to have that chance anymore. Because all those sweet deals and that's gone. All those things and learning how to get over, because we do, it's not going to work anymore. Because you didn't have a backup plan. You already know how to just get over all the time. You never tried to fix that because we got comfortable. And the problem is with America, and I keep saying this, we've gotten comfortable. We've gotten very comfortable in the way we live.
Up to the top of the hour, it's a 2-hour show. I know we could talk until we I want to take a moment to mention, please support AOC Community Media.
Yes.
You can get at AOC, www.aocinc.org/watch, or you could download the app and take us anywhere and listen to some of our rants and raving. Sister Salida might not say that's rants and raving, but that's mostly what I do, rant and rave.
No, it's not rant and rave because you got points being made.
Become a member. Sign up, and you got a story to tell, a product in the sense that the community will benefit. Tell us about it, or you have a bone to pick with some individuals or everybody. You could get it off your chest at AOC Community Media. Shout out to Skip and William and Brother Shaheed. Shout out to Sister Khadijah and all those who are part of AOC Community Media. The shows that come on AOC Community every Friday from 10 to 12. That's Brother Wallace Senegal along with Brother Mike and Brother Oscar. And then you have Mr. Kevin on Thursday. I forgot to mention him every Thursday at 5:30 on AOC Community. Mr. Kevin defending our community. You have Digital Soul Showcase every other Sunday, the best in music videos and live events that we cover around South Louisiana and the world. And you also have Brother Darren Muhammad, the community defender. He'll be back for the second season. We technically in the second season. Then you got Sister Salida McCall. She could tell us the time that she comes on. I just turn on the TV and she's on.
Well, I come on the Empower Her talk show comes on at 7 p.m. every Thursday. So yeah.
And then we have the Open Line radio show every Wednesday. Live from the studios of KIEE 88.3 FM. The Open Line radio show with myself, Brother Jay, and Sister Khadijah. Also, this show right here, Real Talk, every other Tuesday from 9:30 to 11:30 on this great station. So I just want to get those plugs out. Again, you could check out Sister Salida McCall. I'm pretty sure she could give us her times again.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, we come on AOC at 7 p.m. every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
And we talk about a lot of great things on there. I mean,
I'm waiting for the construct of a new show. I got a new concept called Can We Be Frank? No.
Oh, the Can We Be Frank show. Yeah, the Can We Be Frank show that comes on Universal Collective Network. We haven't done a show in a while because me and my son has been very busy doing other projects. But yes, we're on the Can We Be Frank show, Universal Collective Network. We talk about local politics and national. Most of the stuff mostly is local politics because we got some issues in our area that we're dealing with too. And we call people out on it. We just do. We call them out. When we see things wrong, we call them out. And yeah, we stay in trouble.
Shout out to or who's on social media.
Brother Ned, Brother Tavares.
Or somewhere around. Shout out to him. Shout out to Brother Paul from Lake Charles. Some good brothers out there who are some law followers and participating in the program at some point.
Exactly. I want to say something real quick. I'm on the Louisiana Housing Corporation website, and it's amazing. They're not even talking about the bill. And I'm trying to figure out.
Well, they didn't tap down on all the organizations, all these organization systems before you get into, that's what I want to bring. They are afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Look at the civil rights group, the NAACP. On the national level, they filed a few lawsuits with what's the other arm of the NAACP? The
ACLU?
No, I'm talking about the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. They filed a couple of with major organizations, but the NAACP on a local level in the state, they have been silent ever since Jeff Landry took office. A lot of the so-called groups, all of these fraternities and sororities, all these Mason groups, all these people, tell us what you're going to do. Are you going to step up for the Black community, or are you just going through the motion of some self-aggrandizement of yourself, giving awards every weekend to yourself, to the people in your organization? You know, all of these groups, they have no idea what the country of this white supremacy group is aiming at, and the fallout from them being a group in America, what they'll get out of it themselves. So I don't know, sister.
It's like everybody's gone silent. It's like you're not getting, and like I said earlier, when me and you talked, the idea that they didn't even tell anybody all this was coming. You're in a position of power to influence people, right? So why were you out having these town hall meetings and doing all these things to get people prepped for this bill? Because you guys knew it was going to pass. You knew it was going to pass. Mm-hmm. So why didn't you prep your people? So when you go back to because midterms are coming up, what are you going to tell your people? What are you going to tell your people? I heard that one of the Republicans.
And they always talk kind of midterm. I mean, just think about it. They always say, well, we're going to get them next time. And next time. Don't even count. I'm to the point, and don't even count on the midterms, because what you're doing by not fighting before the so-called midterms, or even doing this whole administration existence, you're creating that sense of voter apathy where people say, hell, why should I participate? Exactly. This is not a fight for me. They're telling me, wait till next time.
Exactly.
Hakeem Jeffries, all of these people, they need to go. They need to go sit down somewhere.
It's time to go. Yeah, that's right.
Chuck Schumer, people like him, even some of the pundits. What's this clown from Louisiana that wears that LSU shirt all the time? He sounds more like a blue dog Democrat than anything. He should go sit down somewhere. I mean, it's pitiful. We don't have any progressive leaders. We had a few that were running when they were running against Cleo, the young brother we had, and we got some other people, but they seem to have tapped down themselves. So this system right here is prone for something like a Trump MAGA mindset to take over because of the weakness historically of all these other groups. You know, it was going to happen anyway. you know,
Yeah.
and the dumbing down of our people and the rise of their electorate, you know, that was bound to happen anyway.
Exactly. And I'm glad you're saying that, because that's another thing we always were curious about. When a person runs for office and they don't win, they get silent. The fight. So that's why the fight wasn't real. You get what I'm saying? When you know that the fight wasn't real is when they stop being involved in what's going on in community. See, we play a role. It's a script. And when we play that role and the script has been written and you have to go by that script, once the script is over and they've written you out of the movie or the role, you go on with your life. You don't have anything else to do with it. But if you're real and authentic and you really believe what you were saying out there on that campaign trail, you're going to keep trying to fight that from the background. Reason why I'm saying that, because I have a councilman here, Councilman Gerber Porter, never stopped fighting. When he was no longer a councilman, he became an advocate for the people. And I'm going to tell you, he can clown when he needs to. He never stopped the work. But all the rest of them stopped the work. So that's what makes me think that you weren't really about people. It was about a title, a position, a purpose, and the power that comes with that position. And it was all about you. It really wasn't about the people. Because when you get behind those seats and you start to vote, we see it's not about the people. Especially when you start voting against the own interests, like Mike Johnson, for your communities. So are you really about the people? And the people have to get more educated to know how to vet. Because if you say you're a Christian, you've been given the gift of discernment, right? Am I right? So if you have the gift of discernment, you should be able to tell who's real and who's not. I'm just saying. I know people are very good actors and actresses, but you should be able to know them by their spirits, okay? By their spirit, to see if they're really about that business, about what they say, the kids say, about that life. That's how you can tell if they're real. But I can definitely say I work with a real live person. That's Mr. Porter. That was a councilman, and he never stopped doing the work. Never. He started doing voters registration education. We had all kinds of classes going. Okay. Always informing. Comes on our show and inform and give out the information that's needed. Never stop. Go to the city council meetings. Get kicked out if they need to kick us out. But that's what he did. He still does. So that tells me what's authenticity. And that's the type of person that I will go to bat for in my position, because I know he'll do the work. We've got all these phony people that love to dress up in these nice suits and pretend like they're really for us, and their hair done and their haircuts and their nice shoes, the whole nine. And really, it's a front. They're already been bought and sold. If you look at the label in their clothes, it'll say sold. I'm just saying, ask them for a receipt. It'll say it's been sold. And they're just playing a role. And that's the problem. And we as people, as the people who are being affected by that, need to call them what they are. You've been sold. I advise you guys to take time out and read a book, $5 in a pork chop sandwich. Get the book.
Yes.
I promise you, you'll see what you're dealing with when it comes to politicians in Louisiana. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Again, it's the worst of the worst.
And it's not helping us. No. We're not benefiting from it. Look at us in education. Look at us in the healthcare. We're not being benefited from what we do for Louisiana. What we bring to the, like they say, bring to the table. We're not getting anything but scraps.
People like Mike Johnson has the nerve to rail on what's going on in California, when California tax base contribute more to the to the well-being of Louisiana than any other entity
That's
out
right.
there. He has the nerve.
That's right.
And how can he be? It is so telling of how this country would be a laughing stock when you have Mike Johnson from one of the poorest states in the United States in the terms of how they allocate money and how they
That's
get
right.
one of the poorest states leading the nation as Speaker of the House.
That's right.
I mean, what a crock that is.
Yeah.
And having individuals who are like Scalise, somebody say he ain't felt enough stuff in his rear end, upshot in his rear end to change, have a change of
No,
heart.
it's like, did you
Want
see?
it to happen to him, but look like if you got shot in the AAA, whatever, you would change your mind about life.
No,
You evil.
he's
And
double.
you got so many of these politicians. You got Clay Higgins, a person who engaged in police brutality, talking about righteousness in the Bible. You know, I mean, it's crazy that we have these leaders a laughing stock and
Yeah.
legislated body and want to challenge the integrity and the IQ of Jasmine Crockett. You know, it's really crazy, upside down. You know?
Yeah. And it's like, when are we gonna stop? When are we gonna say? Like a child. Let's put it in the mindset of the child. You watch a child do a lot of stuff they're not supposed to do, right? And after a while, you get tired of it, right? What do you do when you get tired of that child doing those misbehaving things that they do? What do you do? What do you do? Do you let them continue doing the bad things, or do you chastise them?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You have to chastise them. You have to put boundaries in place. And we've allowed them not to have boundaries. We allow them not to have age limits. So they stay there. And like they were saying, a lot of laws that these older Congress people are passing in the big, beautiful bill, they're not even going to be allowed to be alive to even see them enforced. So this is what I'm saying. So nobody has boundaries. And how dare you want to put boundaries on me? If I want to wreak havoc and cause hell all over the place, how dare you want to put boundaries on me? You don't have a right to that. I have that freedom. But no, you don't have the freedom to hurt other people. You don't have the freedom that your freedom turns around and messes up my freedom. You don't have that right, but we've allowed them to have that right. And that's why we got what we got now. And it's out of hand. And I think the people are going to rebel. And I think they're going to rebel in the sense that it's not necessarily always going to be something because, like you know, the Supreme Court is bought and sold. They're going to do it in another way. And I think there's going to be action behind what they're going to do. And I think it's already being planned. And I think it's been in a planning stage for a while. Now I don't know if you guys know about the work day that they're going to take off, that they're trying to encourage people to take off work, not to work, since they don't want to do what we say. We're not going to come to their corporations and their companies and work. That is a big deal right now.
Well, sister, the whole notion back when Trump was running and his administration putting out that rhetoric about black jobs, and he went to that black church and talked about the black jobs, and they thought the black jobs would be getting back in the fields after they deport the how people take your black job and shove it up your black, you know what?
That's not going to happen. That's not us.
Even under forced labor situation, trying to incarcerate all our people.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And no matter what they're saying, because you know why? If nobody can survive this craziness, we're going to survive this craziness.
Yeah,
we're going to, because we always do. I wanted to tell you something about that.
Yeah, you could tell the Louisiana Housing Authority, what you were talking about when you get a chance.
Okay, now what I was trying to tell you that I went to Louisiana Housing Corporation. If you guys know who Louisiana Housing Corporation is, they're not even talking about the bill on here. They're basically an informational website. So if it affected them, which it will, because they're the ones who issue the certification for people to get vouchers.
How they survive? If this say the bill does away with some of the provisions of their existence, how would that group disband? Would that organization disband, or they could stay there? Because a lot of people say, Trump not gonna last forever, the administration not gonna last forever. But so much of the damage could have been done. They could set those groups and organizations that administer these programs back several years, maybe even decades.
Yes, it is. And you got to remember, I think they just got a whole boatload of money. I don't know the amount. Not too long ago, was it the beginning of this year or last year? They got a boatload of money to do things with. And that if this goes through, a lot of that money is going to be sliced in half. So they're not going to be able to help everybody like they've been doing. Like I said earlier, with the rentals assistant programs, they're going to be cutting those in half. Some of the programs are going to be totally eliminated. And I'm saying this I think it's from the national level that this is going to happen. It's not directly Louisiana. I know that the LIHEAP, I think it's called LIHEAP program, they're going to be definitely slashing that program. I think that helps with the utilities, energy, and all that. They're going to be, those type of programs will be messed with. I'll put it to you like that, from the information that I found. So a lot of things are going to be affected. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be directly affected, but it indirectly can be affected by this.
Phone call. Let's see if we could get the phone call.
All right. Okay.
Hello, caller. Caller.
Good.
Hello, caller.
Good damn topic. Must say good damn.
Yes, caller.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I don't have you on the line, caller.
I could hear you, Brother Jay.
Call back, because I'm not getting you. I'm not picking you up.
All right, then.
Go ahead, sister.
No, I was just saying how. I was just basically saying how a lot of this will be directly or indirectly affected by these cuts that are going to be made, that are being made. And like I said earlier about some of the programs, if you've been on this program for a while, they're going to knock it down to only 2 years that you can be on the program. That means you're going to have to figure out how you're going to do that from there. They're trying to limit. They don't mind you being on it. They're just saying that you're being on it too long. Okay, now it's time for you to do something different. So go ahead.
Hello, caller.
You can hear me?
Hello, caller.
Brother J.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Good. I'm gonna say good damn topic. Y'all hit the nail on the head. Y'all never miss a nail on with the hammer at all.
Yes.
With that big beautiful deal, if you want to really help people, why you didn't raise minimum wages in that deal?
Yeah, that's one of the main things that they should have been addressing. Having a livable wage, especially in Louisiana. Mike Johnson and all those players out there in Congress.
Exactly.
We keep talking about black and white, but it's really green. What the sister was saying about is a money thing. You can't go nowhere without money. And everybody's looking for a dollar, not the cause. Because what she's saying about the taxes, I had the same idea about going to Blanco, Kathleen, or whatever, Boulay, and said, when I pay my taxes at the end of the year, give me my taxes back and let me decide what I want to do with it in my area, like a tip tax. Because at the rate it's going, they can find money for other sites, but not this other side. And that aggravates me because I can show you my receipt that I actually paid taxes. They always talk about good tax dollars, like if it's just white people pay it. Blacks pay too.
Like black folks don't pay taxes or something like that.
That's what they act like. If you listen to them. But I'll listen to y'all and let y'all get back. I just want to put that in the pipe and let y'all smoke it. Thank y'all. Y'all keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, caller. And I apologize for the technical issues that we have. We actually streaming on the newer system. We're actually streaming on the newer system this week, but hopefully we'll get that Amazon Prime deal. Device to function with on our remote shows. I have to blame somebody. I'm like the administration in DC. I'm blaming Joe Biden back in 1940.
Yes. We keep blaming Joe Biden for everything.
So, sister, the caller brought up some interesting point. I don't know if you heard everything he said.
No, I didn't hear everything.
Yeah. Well, about we talked. I did mention about taxes, and they always hollering about they pay taxes and so forth. Like black folks don't pay any type of tax.
Exactly.
We pay taxes just by existing in this issue. When we go to the liquor store,
exactly.
to engage in some extra activity, they don't realize they're paying taxes on things.
You pay taxes on everything. So when people say, even when you look at it from the standpoint of people who are on assistance, SNAP, and food, you pay taxes. You guys, we pay tax. We got to buy clothes, shoes, all of that. There's taxes. So don't ever let nobody say because you're at a disadvantage when it comes to your housing or your food that you don't pay taxes. You pay taxes. When you go buy that $10 pack of 20 cigarettes, you're paying taxes on them cigarettes. When you go get your liquor, like you said, when you go get your favorite liquor, you're paying taxes. So don't ever let nobody feel like you're not contributing to this doggone economy. You are, because like I said earlier, you are the biggest consumer, right? We are 1.7 trillion consumer. Let me say that number again, so you do not miss what I'm saying. We are 1.7 trillion consumer. That's what we do as African Americans. That's what we bring to the table. So don't ever make nobody feel like you are not contributing. Yeah, you do. You contribute more than most people do. Okay, so please do not ever let nobody say you don't contribute to America's economy. That's our money. They're taking our federal money. No, it's your money too, baby. Okay, don't let them get it twisted. It's your money. Your state is living off your money. Okay, even though they don't make sure they're still living nice off your money. Every time you go to the store, you got 9.5% in sales tax. 9.5% in sales tax. Okay. And if you own a home, you pay property tax, right? Every time a meal or tax needs to be imposed and passed, guess what? Your property taxes go up. So don't let nobody say that you're not contributing. You are, very much so. You're contributing to the revenue and you're contributing to the tax brackets here. You're taxing what's the name? So don't let nobody tell you anything different about that. Don't ever feel like you're not an American because you don't pay tax. You pay tax.
And sister, we kind of glossed over also the issue of Medicaid. That's part of that big bill, Medicaid requirement.
Yes.
To get Medicaid by the work requirements. Now, you got to state at the top of the list of having people with the most situation that affect them their health wise. Mm-hmm. But yet they're calling for people to work, and they were using the notion that, well, we got young people sitting at their house milking Medicaid. That is so crazy and asinine to me that. And I'm gonna give you an example. Young black girl who's sitting in the house, man, I'm gonna get me some of that Medicaid. Man, I'm gonna all day and get some profit off of it. Matter of fact, we have problems getting our young people to attend the doctor and to get medical
They
help.
won't go. They won't
That
go.
big ass lie. Go with the big ass bill, ugly bill. And Mike Johnson was milking that stuff, and he was basically accusing 1 point so many millions of Louisianians committing fraud in Louisiana on Medicaid.
Oh my God, what a lie.
A state that has the most ailments as opposed to any other state, and also the fake I call it the fake make Louisiana healthy again bull that Landry and others put together, where they want to tell people what to buy with their SNAP benefits, food stamp benefits, while they pushing out Boudin, Cracklin, Gerald Gunick on Channel 10. Let's eat that food every day. All that stuff that send you to the emergency room because your heart is about to explode with all that cholesterol stuff you buying, Boudin, Cracklin. So these people are nothing but some goddamn hypocrites, man. They tell you to their face they playing with your mindset. Why they want to make you healthy by not buying a few cans of soda, but yet they pushing out the tourism is let's eat all this crap that make us sick. I mean, this is so ridiculous, so illogical, you know. So
but you have to understand, it's
Boudin corner store, but I'm telling you, this is some crazy stuff that they're pushing out in Louisiana, the most unhealthiest state in the union.
But see, but you got to keep in mind too. If I've been for years it's like a drug addict. If I keep feeding you drugs, all of a sudden I'm saying the drugs are dangerous for you, I need to take them away. Does that make sense? Am I supposed to wean you off of them by giving you alternatives, right? Or I'm going to continue complaining about you not getting off of drugs when I haven't even set up a system for you to get off the drugs? You understand what I'm saying? You get that? So this is what I say when we talk about food and the food industry. The food industry has put chemicals in our food to kill us, but blame us for our health. Doesn't make any sense. Right. Because you've already put the habitual and the habit forming and addictive forming chemicals in food. People fighting in a line at McDonald's, people fighting in a line at Popeye's chicken or sandwich. Those are addictive chemicals. So then you throw them out there at me and they make them taste good and I'm eating. And then all of a sudden you'll say, okay, you know what? You're going to have a heart attack. It's your fault. We need to eat better.
If you have
food that you keep you having for me, I'm eating.
And mothers have to take their last benefits and go to the dollar store and live off of that dollar store. Well, you create the situation because you don't have the choices to eat healthy. So what that crap that they did that supposed to make Louisiana healthy again, that's never gonna happen. Anybody want to bet that's not gonna go nowhere?
Yeah. So, but we can't give, and you have to look at it from the standpoint. Yeah, we're responsible for making sound decisions and healthy decisions. But with everything we touch, got something in it that's not good for us. Now, I don't know if you paid attention to Wendy's. I'm a Wendy's person. I will say that. I don't eat fast foods like I used to, but I do eat Wendy's. Wendy's now took the Takas. Is that what's the name of the chip? Takas. Taki. Now they actually have sandwiches and French fries with this chemical, this cheese, whatever it is, on it, coating on the food. Do you know what Taka is doing to our kids? It's eating their insides out. But now it's in your burgers. So this is what I'm saying. And then you complain? Stop. Let it make sense. I don't know why Wendy's did that, because Wendy's really is not like that. But for them to go to the streets and bring Takas in as a seasoning, a coating on our burgers and all that, and our French fries, that's crazy. That is a day that they have. I think that's red in it, it's eating the inside of our, and we get it for our children. We get our kids addicted on all this stuff, and you wonder why you run into the hospital with them. You wonder why they're sick. You wonder why they're climbing the walls. But you got to stop that.
Well, that's part of that whole notion when I was making reference to Jeff Landry and that make America healthy again by banning certain food items off of the SNAP benefit cards and so forth. That's a smokescreen for something else. They really don't want to, just like the sugarcane issue scenario I talk about. They really don't want to do that because they got companies and grocery stores and family-owned grocery stores like the Rouses and so forth that benefit off of the SNAP benefits. And they're not going to change it. They're going to do the smoke and mirror stuff. And what they doing this is just to be cruel to certain groups of people, to say we're being cruel to certain people because we know that certain group of people who they are, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's always been about. It's never about any scientific fact. It ain't about trying to educate our people to eat more healthy and show and tell to show our people teaching proper eating habits in schools and so forth. It's all about just being cruel and mean to certain groups of people at certain time to show off that we could be some real MAGAs, you know, at times, you know. And so it's to do about nothing anyway, you know.
Exactly. Talking about Medicaid, I found an article, those who need Medicaid notes, including people with disabilities and elderly, will be affected by the bill's cuts. It says the nonpartisan congressional budget, CBO, estimated that the OBBBA will cut federal spending on Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program, which is CHIP, benefits by 1.02 trillion. Did you hear that number? 1.02 trillion is due in part to eliminating at least 10.5 million people from the program by 2034. With new federal limits on Medicaid eligibility likely increasing the number of uninsured along with the other provisions that restrict states' ability to raise revenue to fund their Medicaid programs, states will have to reevaluate their budgets to either supplement the spending or cut services. It says research says that when federal funding for Medicaid decreases, states tend to cut optional benefits such as home and community-based first. It's nearly impossible to carve out a specific population such as disabled people or elderly people because the cuts to Medicaid funding will affect everyone due to hospital closures and healthcare workforce layoffs. It says it's going to be harder for states to fund home and community-based services, right? So the HCBS waivers that will cover people who do not meet the existing requirements of needing an institutional level of care to receive the home community-based services. States would be allowed to apply to access these fundings as long as their proposed program does not increase the average wait time for people who meet the need for institutional care. So in order to implement the additional category, the federal government will provide $50 million in fiscal year 2026 and $100 million in the fiscal year of 2027. In 2020, an average Medicaid per capita spending on the home-based community program was $36,275. So now with the home it's called the home and community-based services, is going to be a problem for some people because now they got to pick and choose how they're going to, the money that comes down, that trickles down, how they're going to be able to disperse it among people who qualify to have home community-based care. Paperwork requirements will cause eligible people to lose coverage because now you've got to think about the paperwork. It says, while some advocates of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act has claimed that it will stop the subsidization of competent adults who are just choosing not to work, the reality is that nearly all Medicaid recipients who aren't automatically eligible based on Supplemental Security SSI or Social Security Disability Insurance are able to work, are already working. So they're already working. So what are you saying that they can't? Because you got people working under the table because that's how they have to work, right? It says, indeed, only 8% of the recipients between the ages of 19 and 64 who weren't on SSI or SSDI in 2023 weren't working due to retirement, inability to find work, or other reasons. Those who were not working were statistically more likely to be older women who left the workforce to care for aging parents or children. So again, remember you said earlier about the lie that was being told that this is bad, all that you said. I think Mike Johnson had made the comment. Well, it's saying right here the number wasn't even high. It said 8%, and those are mainly women who were taking care of their parents already. So you see what how they propaganda or gaslight us. It's called gaslighting. Gaslighting us to think that it's, oh Lord, we got to do this because of this. When reality it is not. It's not.
Yeah. Again, we don't know how Mike Johnson lived with himself. I guess when you're a little twerp, and I'm calling names, I don't usually call names. When you're a twerp like him, I guess that's how you feel, you know.
Not twerk. Did you say twerk?
Twerp. Not twerk.
Twerk. You said twerking.
Twerp. You know, like, I mean, it's a little nickname they have for a little nerd.
A twerk. Yeah, okay. I got you. A twerk. Okay, I got you. But yeah, so a lot of this was to gaslight us into making it legit to do what they did. And you're gonna get a lot of that. The numbers are not, like they saying, the numbers are not adding up. They're not mathing. Math ain't mathing.
Well, one also going back to politics, and I know you don't want to touch on that subject. It'd be interesting to see where the so-called again elected leaders, and so supposedly in Louisiana, when they get back in session, what will they do? What will they say to each other? You know, when Mike Johnson comes before the Louisiana legislative body in his, I guess, his triumph return of passing the big ass ugly bill, or will they? How many Negroes gonna stand up and clap for him like they always do? It'd be interesting. I'm always curious about that, to see how far what we call what some people would call Uncle Tomism. How much is it? How much of it we have in the Louisiana legislative body? Will they bow down and give him a standing ovation and say, "Great job, Mike"? You know, it gonna happen. It could happen now.
Yeah. And you know, I thought about something earlier. So, I think the caller said, it's not a black and white thing, it's a green thing. It's all of it. It's a black and white thing, and it's a green thing.
White supremacy.
Yeah.
White supremacy. Not because I don't see any black supremacists up there with money. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I go ahead and being rich and using the ignorant other clan people out there in the dirt. That's always been a mainstay of America.
Yeah, that's what they did with slavery. Exactly. That's what they did with slavery when they had indentured slaves and slaves. They told the indentured slaves that they were better than the slaves.
Right.
And they went on with that narrative. And they really were taught that they were better than slaves. In reality, they weren't paid for the work that they were doing. So that was the only thing different, but they were still being treated the same way. But they tried to make sure they treated them a little bit different than they treated slaves. So then they made them think that they generationally are better than us. In reality, they're not. We have over and over again showed them that we are. Can I curse? I'm curse. We are the shit. We will always be the shit. No matter what nobody say about us. I don't care if I don't care if we are the shit. Magically, spiritually, we are the shit. And that's not going to change. No matter how you might focus on the bad side of us and the bad, we all got bad eggs, right? And bad apples. But the average, the real African American people, we are the shit. And we keep showing up. No matter how many times we shut a door in our face, we'll go and open up another one. No matter how much we slam us against the wall, we get right back up and we get right back at it. That's who we are. And we got to step up and be that. We can talk about it all day long, but we got to be that.
about it.
Yeah, be about it. Is that about it?
What advice would you give? I know our time is a little bit winding down. We got a couple of
Yeah.
what advice you give those who find themselves in a situation where they might not be able to get access to programs for the house, for housing, for assistance, and so forth? What advice you would tell them? I know we can't fix it all, but we could try to at least give information on some of the platforms, even when we making commentary like sisters we made on this show about a lot of stuff. What advice?
What I think is important, the first and foremost thing we need to do is get educated. Because what we realized in our research and us doing the classes and the stuff we do here, the lack of knowledge is the issue. Things can happen if you know. You can get whatever you want if you know what you want and you know how to get it and you know the resources and you know the tools to use to get what you want. Okay, it's all about education. First and foremost, be educated on what you want and be specific on what you want and go after it. All you got to do is go after it. You might get a couple of doors slammed in, but don't give up. See, because we're quickly to want to give up instead of just going back to the drawing board. Don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board and do it differently. Pivot is what we call it. Adjust and pivot. Make it. If you really want something, you're going to do what you got to do to get it. But I'm telling you to educate yourself on your local programs that can help you. Okay. And then you write off that narrative that they're using. You write off of that mission statement for that program that they have and see where you fit in at. I'm an educator by blood, by whatever you want to call it. I believe in educating myself about anything that I want. And that's one thing I will definitely say, especially about us. We don't know enough to educate. We have to, and everybody's not there to educate you. You have to do it on your own. You have to step out on your own and look for the help you need. Because a lot of people don't know what direction to go into. They don't know how to go about it. Well, find out what you want to know, research that, get the information that's going to fit your situation, and go from there. I will definitely number one, education. And once you get that information, put some action behind it. That's the advice I would give to anybody. And if you don't know it, go to somebody and find it out. Because the answers are all around us. We just refuse to use them. Because a lot of people are downtrodden, they're depressed, and they're tired of people telling them no. But if you don't believe in yourself, that you can get there.
We're not saying. I know I made a lot of disparaging, rightly deserved remarks about our elected politicians. It is rightly deserved.
Yes.
What nobody said. They rightly deserve some criticism by the electorate, because you have an opposite electorate that elected some white supremacists, and they none of our people who we deemed as the people that could help us spoke out against it and called it for what it is. So I say, young people, get involved. If we have a new crop of young people who want to get involved, who I think is progressive, I will support them. I will come out the woodwork and instead of being a flamethrower on politics. I would come out but get rid of some of these old. Even when they say they changed, they haven't changed.
They haven't.
These old politicians. Do away with
it. You're right, Brother Jay. And you have to pay attention to how they vote on certain issues. Pay attention on how they vote. If they're voting against your interests, then you know they're not for you. If they're voting against your community's interests, they're not for you. Okay? If they're voting against your children's education, anything doing with their education, they're not for you. That's in any position that they hold. I'm talking about your board of education. I'm talking about all. If they're voting against what is going to make you a better community, a better safe place to live, and they're voting against it, that's it right there. That's the way you vet them. You look at their voting record. Go straight to their voting record. That's how you eliminate yourself from voting for that same person over and over again. Not because they're popular, because they're related to you, because they did this. All that doesn't matter, y'all. It doesn't matter, and it should have never mattered. But we made it a matter because we got something out the field. If you're about your community, if you're about seeing safety and your education and your economic growth, and you have somebody who's supposed to be representing you, you better pay attention to that person. Because as we see, it's not the same at all. It is not the same at all. It's not. And you will see on this level right now, go back and watch what your congressmen that you believed in, watch what they voted for. And when they come back here to Louisiana and they're up there in Baton Rouge, watch what they're doing.
Right.
Because a lot of them coming up for midterm.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
They get people riled up. They shame people into voting in a sense that they say, well, you know, it's a shame you don't go vote. You're not participating. You're not a good person because you didn't go vote. And then, you know, they get in office and they are nowhere to be found. And you have few and far what you call town hall meetings, even when they have righteousness trust into their hands, that you stand on the righteous side, brother. You should be speaking out about something that's so bad that you're not going to do it. Because what you're not getting anything in the end. What you have to lose? You have to lose your privilege to go on the same duck hunting and fishing trip with them same white supremacists that trying to hurt your community. And that's the problem.
Yeah. We're too close. We're too close to them, and we try to justify it when there's no justification in it because they don't mean us no good.
You know, be a little sassy black woman. You know, even if you're not into that. So, I mean, be about that a little bit. At least you could open your mouth. At least you could act like Jasmine. You know, even if it don't get us nowhere, you could show some fire to our people. You know, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct with that. Definitely. It's an ongoing battle, but it's not like it cannot be won.
Mm-hmm.
In anything we do, we've got to start believing in ourselves. We've got to start doing that. If we don't do anything else, we have to believe in ourselves. Period. It starts there. Believing that you have the power to change things.
Just to give us your website, if you have a website and other information to access your to get at you in the sense.
Okay, so sure, real quick. I have a website called You Can't Clip My Wings. You can check me out on there. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Salida McCall. You can check me out over there. You can check me out on Instagram at YCCMW2020, or you can go up under my name at Salida B. That's on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. If you go to my page now, you better go to my page with caution because I share a lot of stuff. Okay. And
I'm gonna tell you that much. I'm gonna let you know from the top. Do not come at her sideways.
Because I'm gonna come with you. I don't mind. Look, I am a veteran, so I know what it is. Wartime, I know what that is. But you can also go on Universal Collective Network and check out the Can We Frank Show. It's a podcast we've been doing for 9 years on Facebook. Very effective. We rant and rave. We make people mad. The whole 9 yards. But our team does the work. Definitely can check us out over there. You can check it out on my page too, because I have some lives on my page too. So yeah, those are the places that you will definitely find me. Oh, can I do this real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick. Let's see if I can find it. If I can't find it, you're gonna have to go without it.
Interlude music. Some
Yeah,
boots on the
play
ground.
some interlude music for me real quick.
Some boots on the ground.
Okay, I got it real quick. Oh, look. Okay, so if you okay, hold up. Okay, so here's my Stay Healthy book. If you want a copy of this, email me and I will definitely get you a copy of this. Okay. It's a magazine. It's a complimentary magazine that I give out. My book is on Amazon. It's called He Wants to Be Called King by Any Means Necessary. The Chaos and Disruption of the American Dream is my book. I got out, so it's on Amazon. You can check that out. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Wow, that's all?
For right now.
You know, I'm trying to get that prime deal. I'm not giving no promotion to any one entity out there, and stay away from the billionaire entities out there. But I still want to get that deal.
No, you're being hypocritical. You're
You
being
know,
very hypocritical.
you can listen to you a little bit better.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it.
Entities also at the same time. Did you see his wedding, sister?
Did you see where they protested his wedding?
That's not
How
his
you gonna get your wedding protested? That's crazy.
prime membership money. That's all. That's all that was about.
Oh my God, that was funny. I said, protested his wedding. They like don't have that wedding here. They were in Venice. I think it was in Venice.
Right.
That was funny. But anyway.
About Elon.
Oh, did you see he put something up like, please don't forget about me? But did you see the text where, I mean, his post where he said that he did help rig the election?
Right.
Literally
Right.
admitted it.
But you see, people get tired of thinking what Trump said about it rigging, and then what the opposite side is saying. So people come away with that. Oh, well, you know, all that is just fake news. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah, but it's not fake news.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said more than once.
People, that's how people think. Sometimes some of their mindsets and stuff like that.
Yeah. But the whole crazy part about it, they said it more than once.
Yeah.
Okay, they said it more than once. But anyway, thank you. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Real Talk TV. Thank you, Brother Jay. Thank you, AOC, for hanging out with we don't get a chance to hang out that much, but when we do, I hope you guys enjoyed this today. Really, I hope the information we shared with you guys, you can use it. I keep saying, educate, 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 and once you educate, do something with it. Okay. All right.
The fight is eternal.
Yes.
You can understand a fight,
long term,
a situation, a system, spiritual and physical is eternal. That's human nature.
Yep. Seems like we have to fight every time. But you know, we're so good. All right. Bye-bye. Is this a fishing channel? Who's that? Who's that?
A fishing channel.
Yeah, somebody being funny.
With a fish, with a P, fishing.
No, it's fishing. It says, he says, real talk, serious question, but
No, they do have a fishing channel named Real Talk.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I didn't know that. Well,
yeah, I've been having issues with copyright because they all about fishing and all that.
Okay,
stuff
but you
like
said Real Talk Media. That's a difference. Okay.
Yeah, I know he's being funny.
Okay. Okay. I thought he was. Okay. I got you. But yeah,
Yes.
that was awesome. That was definitely
Yeah,
awesome.
and the set to me is improving it as far as the
You,
efficiency.
yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Now with StreamYard, when I come on now, StreamYard, I have an intro and an